angles, and you can see how the color codes have been applied. Interestingly, if we go into our properties here, we can change the visual style from 2D wireframe to one of the other options, like say modeling. And what that will do is show those materials on the triangles. You can see that they've definitely been applied. So they're still triangle mesh entities, but they have that texture applied to them. I'll put it back onto 2D so it's easier to see. What we can then do is go File, Export, and on the export options you will see we have FBX by the top, a whole bunch of other options. At the end we have various IFC formats. So we have verified that when these go out to IFC, they preserve the materials that come with them. So we see a lot of potential for that. There's a lot more we want to do with it. We're very, very keen to get feedback on what people are doing with that these days. So please let us know. We'll be happy to kind of investigate it further and go into a lot more information and detail on it. So the next thing we will do is open up that exported OBJ file inside in Twinmotion. So here we have Twinmotion. This one we imported an FBX file. The geometry comes in, and in here it's got the same materials that we had applied originally on it. We can override those. So if I press materials here on the left, click on ground, click on nature, I can apply various kinds of grass textures. I won't waste too much time on that. What we have done here already is applied a pond texture, water texture. You can see how the water is rippling here. We can go and spend a lot of time on those, but what I really want to show is how we can add various trees, because this is going to be a public open space area and it's good to show how it's going to work. So if we go up here to where the original road was, let's just pan around here slightly. On vegetation, if I go to trees, I can type in some kind of a tree. So let's type in a pine tree. When I click these trees, as I place them in, they vary in size and color and orientation automatically. But more importantly, on any of these, when I select them, I can look at the age button on the bottom here. And as I age them, they don't just scale, they actually change in definition. So you have a young tree, a medium age tree, and a very mature tree. So it's very, very convincing, even before you start putting much effort into it. As you zoom into these as well, you will see that as you get closer, there's a lot more information on the leaves and all the other things that we pick up on subconsciously. But it's very, very clever in that it doesn't chew up resources when they're not needed. So as we're zoomed out here, we don't have quite as much of a need to see all that information. Now, that's just a few basic trees. What we also have here, if we look at these at the options in this menu, there's a vegetation. We have bushes, flowers, rocks, etc. I won't go through all of these. What I will do very quickly is select vegetation paint. So what I do here is on the bottom, I make myself a little palette. So if I go to bushes, I will click on, say, bush base 1, and again I'm picking these quite randomly, and I'll say one of these ferns. So when I select these three, I pick a density I want to have, so I keep it quite low to begin with. I can change it afterwards, and I click on paint, and this little hemisphere type thing that's on my surface, that's the size of my brush. If I make that bigger, I can obviously cover more area. And as I move around here, it will scatter those elements at random around that area. And again, I can keep on clicking on it to make it more dense. After I've done it, I can select one of these to highlight. And well, first of all, I can look at what I've done and see that it's pretty impressive straight away. As I look at these, I can select one of these areas and one of these elements, so this bush base 1, and reduce the density of that one. Click on this other one, the Boston fern, and increase the density of that one, etc., etc. So, or I can click on all three of them and increase all of them or less. So you click on some type of a dynamic that you want, which quickly paints a picture here. The other options you have, you can obviously scatter more and more trees everywhere. What I am going to do quickly, I'll put in a few rocks. And again, these can be randomized automatically. Also, you got an option for people. So if I click on characters here, I will click on groups and go down here to this group of people where someone's taking a photograph. These are actually animated. So if I place this, we'll say over here somewhere, where this guy is taking a photo of the family. I can now look down from the road. I can see the original trees I've got here and generally get a view of how this whole setup is going to be done. This is with absolutely no effort at all. I'm putting these in at random. The other things I can do very quickly, because we will do a separate session on this in far more detail, but I want to just show you quickly. If I add some more trees here, it's very impressive feature. So I'm not too sure which one to put in here. Let's click on this one here. Okay, and I'll actually bring this up closer to the camera. All right, now we can do a few things with this tree. When we go and look at our aesthetics, we can change the weather. So I can first of all make it rain, which is quite interesting for a wet landscape. It makes a lot of sense. I'll get rid of these pro guys so they don't get too wet. What I can also do is change the season. If you watch the trees, when we move into the different seasons, the leaves change colour. If it goes to winter, we can see that we got some leaves falling and everything else, and then it goes back into the original colour when you go to summer. So with very little effort, we can build up a very impressive looking, very realistic and immersive illustration of what our plan is going to be. So for public consultations or for general communication, it's an amazing tool. What I'm showing you here is only a very basic overview. We can do a huge amount more information. The guys in Civil Site Design are automating how you can get information from their software directly into here as well. One of the things I haven't mentioned is there's an outputs tab here where you can output images, videos, all kinds of